Yes. Oh, yeah. Very nice. Yeah.
यहाँ पे तस्वीर भेज वैसे मेल आईडी या पासवर्ड बस तस्वीर भेज हाँ बस मीटिंग आईडी से करना USB
आपके पास है जी मैं बैठ जाऊँ जी जी भाई
क्या स्पीक करेंगे
Dr. Ishaq in a form during COVID, so he is the medical worker in health. And the team that particularly the COVID vaccination, he performed very well and due to his efforts and his team efforts, the majority of population of province of Sindh currently vaccinated with COVID vaccine. Dr. Ishaq in the medical field having vast experience in the public health, and he possesses an experience of leading various immunization campaigns like MR, and currently leading the COVID vaccination program. He recently started the pediatric COVID vaccination, and he is also a member of the IPVS for the province of Sindh. So I would like to invite Dr. Ishaq to start his Thank you, sir.
वहाँ चला जाऊँ ऊपर
जी जी सर
माइक लगा दो ये करना पड़ेगा
सर पॉकेट में रखना यहीं खड़ा होना जी सर नहीं सर यहाँ आ जाइए
ऑलरेडी यहीं से
जी
प्रेजेंटेशन आ गई
जी आपको रिसीव होगी
ये ले लीजिएगा मुझसे
जी
पहला बना
जी जी ठीक है
Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon. And thanks, Professor Khamta, for the words he did express for me. In fact, we were, we been, and we are a team. And Professor Said Khan himself been a very important member of that team, which did carry his promise, and especially the city of Karachi out of pandemic suffering. And we are out of pandemic now. And it's because of effective carry out, effective happening on COVAX provided COVID vaccination. So vaccination is very important part of public health. Preventive measures, including pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical measures, except vaccination, are short-lived. आपने हाथ धोए, आपके हाथ खराब हुए, फिर आपको हाथ धोने पड़ेंगे। फिर आप हाथ धोकर आए, आपने कोई काम किया, अपने हाथों का इस्तेमाल किया, ज़ाहिर है हाथ इस्तेमाल करने के लिए, you have your hands to use, and the same hands are contaminated once again. So it was testing time, and luckily we had great people with us, like Dr. Said Khan, that I was in DG Health Office, and he been supporting us on testing, screening of COVID patients, and I'm doing a very important component of that response that was for testing. So another component comes with next is that is screening. You have to know about prevalence, number of patients, the people who are either suffering from any particular condition or prone to get that condition by acquiring. So screening comes after vaccination. And then, after that, priority wise, for me, is an important section, and that is health education. The people who are prone to get any condition, any disease, are to be educated about that condition. So, and all this, and again, we have some more components, like policy making decisions and implementation of those decisions. For those course, you need working groups, task force, etc. So I am lucky from being from the province which has chalked out, duly chalked out the roadmap for elimination towards containment, and again after containment, elimination output and human papilloma virus. Our daughters are not far to suffer. They have to live. They are to be educated, to have very delicate relationships in most modest. We have to impart education on sex relations in very modest and palatable way. You have to impart everything. The age bracket I am in, I for it's my duty to give you a way to impart everything. And one of everything comes my responsibility to see, to put in things like HP vaccine, vaccination against the papilloma virus in place. So this is the commitment of not only my personal parts, but commitment of EPI. For my fellows, for the audience who don't know about EPI, it is expanded program on immunization run by government with the support of WHO, UNICEF, Gavi, and other organizations, primarily budgeted by government itself, started in 1978, initially had 6 diseases to work upon. And now it is working upon prevention against child diseases. We have child diseases. And in addition, we have 2 more. We are working on COVID in addition to child antigens. We are working on corona in addition to child plus COVID plus corona. So, in fact, we will running our sections on 14 conditions. And it's my dream, and that dream was implanted in me by mentors like Dr. Ashok, who was a national program manager on EPI, that every condition, every disease which is vaccine preventable must come under the umbrella of EPI. A few months back, when I did hear about monkeypox, I did ask my fellows, is it vaccine preventable disease? Find out, is there any vaccine against monkeypox? One of my fellows, yes, it is. It is our domain. Very good. To this office, we did start working on monkeypox. Every condition, wherever there is any component of immunization against that infection, whether caused by virus or bacteria, we are here to work. This is the first 2 lines. These are the first 2 lines about the virus. Next, please. HPV data. And that will truly, certainly that would have been under discussion in the sessions during this conference in incidents and preventive steps. Next, please. This is the prevention profile based upon the population demography, estimated demography of 2 years back. 2 years back. We cannot declare, but we are now 54 million souls. And the rest of figures would go under molding in the perspective of 54 souls. Next, please. This is the slide most important for me, and I would like to have more concentration upon this. This is our routine immunization coverage based upon a third party working by AKU in 2020. In that last second half of 2020, and it was disseminated in March or April of 21. but you would be looking at the fully immunized figure as 61. It, it was Sindh province which has made progress, and during this year's IPVS, our third party validation, we are at 68%. UK has lost its FIC, fully immunized children figures. Developed world went back or below. They had the FIC figures, they had percentage they had before COVID, but still did gain 7% of the FIC during that testing other era afterward. We are at 68% now. And this is COVID vaccination coverage. I won't talk now. I won't talk in terms of age brackets. I'm talking in terms of percentage of total population vaccinated against COVID. Sindh is the only region in South Asia which has more than 68% of its total population vaccinated against COVID infection. And after second round, first round is ongoing for 5 to 11 years children to be vaccinated against coronavirus infection. After its second round, we would be having more than 70% of total population vaccinated against COVID. So these are figures, and we had we had inoculated more than 20 million children against measles and rubella combined combo vaccine during November last year. Next, please. These are the milestones which has been decided by Sindh government health department to get the elimination of elimination of human papilloma virus. So, as I said earlier, we will be having all components of that. Already, I described the things during this session. This is the contribution pledged by Japan, and they just kindly come forward on their own, with their own will, to extend support to the province of Sindh. And they are very kind to extend support with not only technical assistance, but on the development of screening, testing, tools, provision of SAM to us. They are very kind to have long-term engagement on vaccination. So these are the bullets developed by them. And as you know that we would be having adults and girls as our subject of vaccination, mostly found in elementary schools. So that group would be duly educated against on preventive measures against human papilloma virus, and we would be carrying out vaccination among that part of population. And here I am to express, to show my readiness over that part of immunization work. Thank you very much. Thank
Well, in time, so we can take one question at the any question? Yeah, so thank you very much.
ये पूछना चाह रहे हैं
Sir, what are the plans to vaccinate girls in consumption against this infection, HPV infection? When are we going to see the introduction of vaccine recent?
For that, I am unable to give you any timeline. Otherwise, I would express my commitment on by earliest. That because we have to carry on a lot of preliminary work over that preparedness. So we are doing things already notified task force, had a meeting of that task force, and we are having taking the partner organizations like WHO, UNICEF on board because we will be needing a lot of funding for that purpose. And I requested the Japago head, so sitting here with me, my sister. So for looking at values from where we can get more funding.
Thank you so much, sir. You can continue the question and answer at your cup of tea. So we will now move towards the next question. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Ramosi Lani, and I'm delighted to introduce the next moderator at this session. The format is different, and it's a group of individuals. Stakeholder engagement is part of the program. And this Ara is the CEO of the Download Foundation. And take 2 minutes to give an introduction to this Sarada, who is the chairperson of the Release Fund and the private limited. Second, you see the flyers, the red flyers, and which is a proposed then run by women and for the purpose of supporting women in the sector with the support of National Electric Power Regulatory Authority Pakistan's Power Prosperity Initiative. She is also the CEO and founder of 786 Investments Limited, one of Pakistan's pioneer asset management companies. It is publicly listed in Pakistan Stock Exchange. She also currently sits on the boards of Pakistan State Oil, where she chairs the Audit, HR, and IT Innovation Committee, Pakistan Refinery Limited, and South Family Limited, and previously served on the boards of Mutual Fund Association of Pakistan and Lahore Electric Supply Company. She's further serving on the Energy Subcommittee of Advisory Committee of the Planning Commission under chairmanship of the Federal Minister of Planning, Development, Reforms, and Special Initiatives. She's certified in corporate governance by Lahore University of Management Science, Pakistan Institute of Corporate Governance, and Harvard Business School. She holds a doctorate in judicial science from Harvard Law School, where she specialized in Sharia law and finance, as well as mergers and acquisitions, and a Bachelor of Arts honors from Cornell University and Oxford University. She has worked for law firms in New York, Toronto, Amsterdam, Brussels, California before launching 786 Investments Limited. She has served on the faculty of the University of French, Austria, as recommended by the International Investment Fund Association and IPVS. Ms. Sarah speaks globally at numerous international mutual funds and banking conferences as an authority on Sharia compliant finance, as well as finance for women, and most recently represented Pakistan at ALFI Grand Prix 2020, the annual association of the Luxembourg oil industry, where she has previously been a speaker on Islamic finance in both 2013 and 2014. She also was invited to France to assist the launching of the Sharia mutual funds industry. She is well known for philanthropic work for women and children in participation with Facebook's Internet.org Foundation and with the support of the World Bank, as well as distribution of emergency supplies during the spot earthquake and most recently the food rations during the COVID-19 floods. Our current passion project is spearheading the distribution of 10,000 wheelchairs across Pakistan to hospitals and individuals in need. So I'd like to welcome Ms. Sara and request her to introduce the panel, if you can.
Thank you so much for having us here today. We're really excited at Ladies Fund to showcase some incredible, in fact, 5 incredible women leaders who are some of the best across not only Pakistan, but representing Pakistan globally. We're going to be filling the space with such incredible women, but we'll begin right now first with the incredible Dr. Nusrat Khan, who comes join us. Big round of applause. This is Pakistan's first oceanographer female. Thank you so much, Dr. Khan, for being here. And Roxana Asghar, please come and join us as well. And as we begin, first and foremost, by saying that cervical cancer is such an important topic and one that hasn't yet got the awareness that this conference and other initiatives will ensure. And even by today's event, we don't know how many lives will be saved. So we thank the organizers for the invitation, as well as thank each of you for being a part of this. We also have our next panelist, Seema Tahir Khan, the owner of TV1 and News One. Please join us here. And we'll begin with these introductions. So first will Dr. Nusrat introduce yourself.
Assalamualaikum. This is Dr. Nusrat Khan. I'm basically an oceanographer. I'm the Director General of National Institute of Oceanography. Most people normally ask me why ocean. What was the passion joining ocean? Very honestly, when I joined an organization, I had no clue about the ocean, not at all. But I always dream for doing something different and innovative, which normally we are not doing that. Luckily, I joined National Institute of Oceanography as a research officer. First time sky, the head of the organization. Let's keep discussing why this belongs there.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nusrat. This incredible woman is a trailblazer in blue economy. We also have Roxana Asghar, we just mentioned, who is the CEO of Fulcrum Consulting, our nation's largest HR consulting company with 20,000 employees. Another incredible woman leader, Roxana. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Roxana Asghar, and I'm the CEO and founder of Fulcrum Fibers Limited, a company I started about 18 years ago. But previously, I've spent my career in human resources, starting from Unilever, where I was with them for 7 years, then moving to Citibank, launching the entire consumer business, and I was their director of HR for 8 out of the 12 years that I was with them. After that, I joined UBL as the SEVP and global head of HR after privatization, so a lot of transitioning there. This institution, which is the Karachi University, is like home for me, because I did my BA Honors International Relations from this very place and my LLB. Presently, we have a company which works with over 400 clients. We have 20,000 employees outsourced across 300 locations in Pakistan. We are also working globally as promoters for human resource migrants to various countries. So that's another avenue, and IT and digitization is something that is also come into existence at Fulcrum.
Thank you so much, Roxana. And now, although she needs no introduction, the iconic Seema Tahir Khan is definitely someone who is going to fascinate us all with her story and introduction. Thank you so much, Seema, for being here.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Uzra, for always remembering me, for inviting me. Although today's subject is, I am absolutely I have no knowledge on the subject of cervical cancer, but I'm here because if there is an opportunity to put in a word as a media person and as a communications person, I think I thank God for having these opportunities anywhere, wherever I can, to raise a bit of awareness, to call for action, to identify the needs, to lay emphasis on the urgency, whether it is women's health, it is any particular kind of cancer, particularly breast cancer, and other forms of cancer which have become very rampant in Pakistan. And as a media owner, I have used my screens several times and many times over to address issues on health or social issues, or create awareness during a particular time on subjects which are affecting society, which are affecting the nation, and where people should be aware, and they should be, with our efforts, with media, with public, with students, with women entrepreneurs, with women environmentalists, with women at the top, of men competent and sensitive to the issues, besides the government. I feel there must, people, all of us, wherever we are, we must come together for some integrated approaches. So I'm here as a owner of 3 television channels, and my past experience has been in advertising, media, and communications. So I'm here to be part of this event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Seema Sahaba. So once we begin this process, it's important to explain why we're here and what this session is about. So Ladies Fun's been asked to do 3 sessions at this important conference, and in fact, this global milestone for Pakistan and the topic of cervical cancer. This first session is on women leaders. They have been invited here, and as mentioned, not one of them is an expert on cervical cancer, and in fact, none of them are an expert on cancer. They have been invited here specifically as women leaders to brainstorm and talk about community, talk about stakeholders, and especially stakeholder engagement. Someone like Roxana, who has 20,000 employees, has a huge responsibility as well to engage those employees who are stakeholders with awareness. Similarly, Nusrat has a completely different pool of people in the environment in her network, and Seema Sahaba with her television and media reach is phenomenal. So the main reason we're here is to look at ways for engagement and stakeholder engagement. As said on the opening keynote of this session, there has been government free testing and free vaccines for COVID. Now, should the government decide to do free cervical cancer screening, we need to discuss and see here these stakeholders who have huge pools of bodies of people, and women in particular, are in a position to engage. Would they partner with that? Would they get their stakeholders to come and attend these screenings, to be screened? And what other ways can they be involved? So we'll begin with Roxana. What ideas, it's a brainstorming session, what ideas do you have that you can engage both your community of people you know, you have 20,000 employees, but you have even more clients. And so how would you engage them in this awareness to help this cause?
Thanks, Carl. Actually, if we were to have some kind of screening arranged, what we do is we provide people to various organizations in which we have factories, in which we have banks, companies. So there's a mix. Even in all these factories, we have a lot of females working. So there is a major possibility that if we were to have some sort of a program, we could talk to the concerned, owners, and we could have a day at the factory, or a day at the bank, or a day at whichever organization, which would want to do this, because if there's something, from what I saw, the statistics, it's a huge number that goes through this cancer every year, which for me was again eye-opening, because that's not something I'd ever seen before. So I personally feel that yes, awareness is a major responsibility, because half the time it is the unawareness that, kills the people rather than knowing what to do and how to get through with that particular disease. So there is a possibility that we could arrange some kind of awareness sessions at various institutions and organizations that are, that we are a part of. So that I could definitely like to.
Thank you so much, Roxana. Seema Saba, if you could talk a little bit about how, if you were to think of ways to engage stakeholders, as it is such an important topic, but it's a very lesser spoken about topic. People know breast cancer, they know prostate cancer, but cervical cancer is lesser known. How would someone go out engaging, especially since people are watching live all over the world? How can Pakistan make a dent in this topic?
As I said, in everything, whatever we do, we need to have an integrated approach in order for it to be successful. Now, engagement on a particular form of cancer, first, I would like to know from the policymakers and the stakeholders, perhaps hospitals, big hospitals, are they finding, do they have a repository? Do they have enough data on cervical cancer and the incidence of this cancer and the increase in this cancer? So when you have current contemporary data on this, you would know the scale and you would know of the urgency, and you would know of the framework that you need to set up for it in order, and then step by step, phase wise, how do you address it? You'd have to have that data in front of you first. Creating awareness on such subjects, a lot of this happens through groundwork. Electronic media or social media. Social media, I think, is a much bigger force, although limited access and limited use of social media is done by the expert and the intellectual and the policy maker and the stakeholder. For instance, if big hospitals could take up, make a, let's say, a digital setup where they have constant information, and this I'm not talking about general, say the cancer wards of every hospital put up a Facebook or a website on the incidence of this kind of cancer and information, technical plus valid information, and where to go in such cases, who to approach, and what are the, so it would be detection of the cancer through data collected. It would be addressing the issue through hospital resource available, and then the remedial and the awareness about how to prevent this, how to detect the signs of early detection. So those things can be done through media, through electronic media, through properly structured campaigns. But this needs to have all the people interested or involved or engaged or committed to eliminating or reducing the impact of this kind of cancer, whether it is breast cancer, it is throat cancer, it is lung cancer. We do not have enough repositories, we do not have enough data, we do not have the infrastructure in place to handle it on a national level. We do need assistance from wherever it comes to address this. And then we need to have a structured framework which can be replicated, cascaded across all hospitals. And that framework should contain the three heads, from understanding the kind of cancer it is, to the effective mitigation or reduction of the cases, and then the early detection and warning. So it has to be very well worked out, and maybe doctors of cervical cancer and specialists in cancer get together and they do have conferences and seminars. But when conferences take place and international doctors come in and they read the papers, and there is those papers, the information is summarized and catalogued, it is there for you. It should be then in a central repository, which can be used by all hospitals, all practitioners, all clinics. So I think that's about what I can say right now.
So absolutely insightful. Each of us can continue to talk about awareness, particularly with a media giant like Seema Sahaba here. But the reality is, unless the stakeholders have the data and are engaging with complete alignment, there will be no possibility of true awareness and knowledge taking place. So thank you for that insight. Before we ask Dr. Nusrat to share her insight from the environmental sector, we'll have two more introductions. We have the incredible Saida Lagari first, who owns one of the largest bottling plants in Pakistan. Saida, if you kindly introduce yourself and share your story for a few minutes. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, and I'm sorry I got a bit late, but I didn't realize how large Karachi University is and got lost. Tried my best to get here on time. Next, मुझे आपको कहना है कि really I'm not a doctor, and I'm sure you people are all science students and have a better understanding of cancer and its implications in our society today. लेकिन अगर मैं यहाँ बैठी हूँ तो मुझे आपको ये कहना है कि yes, I have been associated with NICH as a social work segment of my life. My main work is that I run a Pepsi bottling plant in Sakhar. So अगर आप मेरे mindset से इस वक्त पूछेंगे तो more than cancer, it's probably flood. Okay, because I think I'm living and breathing the flood. But I'm the CEO of my company, and that's another journey, and that would be a discussion on a business forum, which would probably be my forte. But since we are sitting here right now discussing cancer and cervical cancer, all I can say is that in the last 20 years of being associated with National Institute of Child Health, I've seen it grow. I've seen Dr. Nizam wanting to put up a very small children's cancer unit that I was a part of from the beginning. Us waqt, hamare paas, we didn't even get 40 or 50 children, right? And it caters Pura Sindh and Balochistan. This is before Shaukat Khanam came up. And mujhe us waqt lagta tha, clearly, कि should we be doing cancer and spending so much money on cancer, or should we be treating cholera and diarrhea, etc.? But looking at the large influx of cancer in children today, I think it was very forward thinking of Dr. Nizam and his team to put up this center. There is a outpatient of 500 people, children a day. That's huge, okay? And over the years, the one thing that we have also collected on data is that food, as we know today, has a huge, huge impact on cancer. Another huge impact on cancer is, of course, genetics. So this is the data that we have collected, and I would like to share the rest. We all read a lot about it, but this is the data that, and then again, I'm not sure what the other panelists have actually spoken about, but data collection to actually figure out the cancer that is predominant in Pakistan is very, very, very important. And from the business aspect and from life, the one thing that I have understood is that har cheez ki kadi se kadi judti hai. So, you know, you're sitting in a university over here, you have a science department, you probably have an IT department. कड़ी से कड़ी जोड़ने का मेरा मकसद बोलने का ये है कि I think you should take all of them on board. Another aspect of generalized cancer conversation or thoughts on cancer. When I said food, it's a very big, large topic in today's world, food. And the one thing that the largest universities in America and across the globe have said is that we must not consume too much pesticide, etc. And what does that lead us to? It leads us to saying that we should be eating local produce. Because anything that's imported into your country cannot be organic. It just cannot. It has to have a certain shelf life. So it has to be sprayed with certain pesticides, which again, or unorganic food, which again could be the cause of cancer. So I know that we all have short durations. So what I was trying to say is we must collect data. We must know the kinds of cancers that are predominant and what are the root causes of those cancers and how to eliminate those. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saina. Before we have Hina introduce herself, it's incredibly an honor for the Ladies Fund Women Leaders to be here today. As you know, we've been invited specifically as people who are lay people when it comes to cancer in a room full of some of the best academics in the world and some of the most scientific minds on cancer who've flown in from different countries to discuss cervical cancer. But these women leaders are here to represent not only the best of women of Pakistan, but the women who are representing Pakistan globally. And their main role right now is to discuss how they, as leaders with lots of employees and who are engaged with huge communities, whether through having 20,000 employees and different clients, to having huge media access, or to having a bottling plant, or having the environmental foray under their whole network. Now we're going to have Hina introduce herself, who's a partner, one of the first female partners in Pakistan's history of the Big Four audit firm. And is going to both introduce herself, and then later we'll come back with some brainstorming on ways that they can get engagement through their communities to help the academics and brilliant minds here and around the world who are watching understand how to get stakeholder engagement and more awareness. Hina, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me here. Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon to all. When Tara invited me for this session, I was lost because I have no association with science. I am an accountant, an auditor, and what can I say to people who are in this journey? But cancer as a disease is very, very personal to me. My mother had breast cancer and she passed away a couple of years ago because of it. I don't know how much I can contribute to this panel, but yes, as far as creating awareness is concerned, I do have certain personal anecdotes to share, which I think may serve as sort of torch bearers for the people who are the victims. Like I would consider myself being a family of a cancer survivor, somebody who's been through the process, and how the doctors and how the system can help us along the way in creating that awareness, in being more kind and more understanding of the plight of those patients. I think that is what I perceive could be my role on this panel. And then I'm going to listen to all the other learned ladies over years, so that even I get to know, because that journey was very, very personal to me. That's all I would be saying right now. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Hina. Now, Dr. Nusrat, you are, of course, Pakistan's first ever female oceanographer, and you have the entire blue economy as well as huge environmental reach in Pakistan and globally. Can you share ideas on ways that you think environmentalists and climate control, as well as health, could maybe overlap, or there could be any synergies for awareness building?
Thank you, Dana. My introduction was just a brief, but let me introduce you more and then I'll answer your question. I basically ocean. Ocean means connect. And I consider myself as an ocean. I'm basically a connecting body. This is a unique thing which I can. Number two, what I have a unique thing, just to be in that forum, this is very irrelevant, but very relevant. I consider I belong to a different planet, this different areas like ocean. What is unique is doing something different and innovative all the time. So I'm just hosting one of the program in Dara's studio. And one very unique thing I get along the day before yesterday, there was a doctor. She had a mobile application for assessing some of the disease. So similarly, we may develop one kind of mobile application with some symptoms or something in maybe in a local language. So anybody could put these information and data and the symptoms, so we can have a data. We have been discussing about the lack of data and coordination. The mobile is in everybody's hand. This is the best way to collect that. This is my humble suggestion for all these students, teachers, professors, and the panelists as well. We may start advocating and collecting the data by that. Another very unique thing which I am trying to introduce in Pakistan. Presently, I am working as a CEO of Dynamics Medical Company. What we are trying to do that, we are trying to introduce an artificial intelligence equipment which does reading and retina and diagnosis 35 different diseases, including tumor in human body. So this is the way we are trying collecting a cloud going to be associated with that. So we may incorporate that application or maybe that, because I'm not a medical doctor, I have no clue about the cervical cancer, but I can be a connecting body as like a motion. Is somebody doing that kind of research and looking for outreach while we are trying to introduce our equipment, we may introduce your application as well with that. So we can work together with our medical association. Thank you for this.
Very, very useful. Obviously, Seema Sahaba said earlier about engaging with the hospitals and data collection before getting the media involved, because you need to have that knowledge. Adding mobile applications is very, very powerful there. Sayed, would you think that obviously you bottle Pepsi, and Pepsi is drunk by very large numbers of Pakistanis. In fact, it's one of the largest beverages drunk in our nation. Is there any way you think a platform like that could be aligned in any way with an awareness building campaign?
Okay, thank you. Now, this question is probably a question I can answer better. So yes, Pepsi is 70% of Pakistan's beverage market share. And as we can see that globally, Pepsi is working very, very strongly towards Pep Plus, which is taking away from the CSD, which is a carbonated soft drink, which we all know as Pepsi or the other flavors, towards NCBs, which are non-carbonated and healthier products. So we don't have too many of them in Pakistan, but we do have Aquafina, which is probably one of your best qualities in bottled water right now. They have moved towards juice slice. They are moving and they have moved towards a big segment has moved towards diet drinks. And even in the diet drinks, they're trying to use more natural sugars and, you know, be more aware of the health potent than they were a few years ago. And across the globe, of course, they have now joined hands with Lipton and other products like that. And there are lots of water flavors, vitamin waters. There is a large segment that PepsiCo has moved towards. We still haven't introduced that in Pakistan, but we are aware that healthier products need to get into the market. We are slowly trying to introduce those.
And would they be able to align with the market?
Okay, again, we are bottlers. That has to come from the multinational
Manufacturer.
company. No, we are the manufacturers.
The
as well.
bottlers.
We're the
PepsiCo International.
That's right.
Yeah.
So PepsiCo International is very strongly aligned towards a healthier product. It's always a slow process because people need to align themselves into wanting to drink the healthier version of the product, right? So global awareness is a lot more, and I think we spoke about awareness, and that sort of awareness needs to be created in Pakistan, and I think it will come. Just in our sales, we can see the move and the shift towards hydration, which Aquafina falls in, juice products, diet products. People are aware of the sugar that they're intaking. So we can see the numbers in our sales crop up in these segments, which were very low segments maybe a few years ago. So yes, we are going to, and globally there's been a huge shift, I must say. So slow and steady. There's of course other environmental issues, like I said, apart from cancer. And cancer is very related to other environmental issues also. You know, it is what we live, eat, breathe. That is the cause. You know, cigarettes were once touted as a cause, and we moved away, but it's been a slow process. Food's going to be a process. It's all about a mindset. It's about awareness. And I hope that seminars like this, TV channels, and, you know, heads of TV channels, if they are so inclined towards this, will help create this awareness.
Thank you so much, Saida.
So we've seen the mobile app engaging with communities, potential of an environmental global campaign that can align with food, diet, cancer, so forth. We have Hina here, who's joined us representing the Big Four, and a huge audit firm that not only had several female employees, but also clients. And those clients are huge companies that have enormous number of female employees as well. Hina, do you think there's ways to promote awareness in those communities? So as one of the questions we asked earlier was, if the government were to introduce free cervical cancer testing, would you be able to, through your platform or any audit platform, engage more people to go and be tested? Thank you.
Tara, that's a very pertinent question. I not only represent a Big Four audit firm with a lot of female employees, I'm also a member of ICAP, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, which actually has a women's committee. And we have these awareness programs being held in Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad for at least chartered accountant females. We've had awareness sessions related to breast cancer, diabetes, obesity, all these problems that plague the working woman. Sadly speaking, cervical cancer as a cancer has not been the awareness has not been created per se. I also believe that while, yes, we should be starting from the educated sector, a lot of, someone is speaking about the mobile app, a lot of Pakistanis now have access to smartphones, and they have access to Google and relevant search engine. The need is to create awareness on first that there should be certain bodies, because I know for a fact that a lot of bodies are working for awareness of breast cancer. And there are programs being designed and conducted in various companies, firms, even in places like ICAP. There are awareness sessions held where they teach you what symptoms to look for. And then you have to understand that we women just don't represent ourselves or the people we work with. We have access to a larger community per se. as a homemaker, I have maids working for me who have no clue about what cancer is or what are the symptoms that they should be looking for. But because their house help
No one wants to keep on putting in money, how much ever the companies are making. This is not something that just comes naturally to most of the people. So I do feel that you can put in awareness and you can put in clauses, but it depends on the kind of money involved in all of this. To make it, more useful, more cascaded, more ingrained, it would depend on the kind of financials that are involved. But yes, you could make like this kind of a test mandatory once a year, or whatever, like mammograms after a certain age are necessary. So something like that could be done, but I think a lot has to happen on this particular cancer front before you can tell people that this is something that's on the rise, it's there, needs to be treated and needs to be taken care of.
Could I add something, Ram? I agree with the expense pitch of it and everything. I think we need to break down this problem into smaller subsets. First of all, I think we need to speak more about this cancer. Previously, I know my mother contracted cancer when it was diagnosed in 2003, and she was a survivor for about 16 years. When she was diagnosed, there was no conversation around that cancer. I still remember the first doctor we visited. He just entered the room and he said, does anyone else in your family? But by then, the cancer was not diagnosed per se. She just seen the tumor. And then he comes in and he says, has anyone in your family had cancer? And my mother was just shocked and taken aback, and she never wanted to go back to that doctor. Again, I said, first we need to probably create awareness of the existence of this cancer, and then talk about it, and then take the whole process through the testing bit and the symptoms bit. I see now that 20 years from then, there is a lot of awareness going on around breast cancer, the success stories that are there, how much people are actually, their lives have changed after getting themselves treated, the women's lives that have changed and evolved, the taboo against losing what is perceived as a beautiful part of their body, to be able to get over that trauma. I think that the same needs to happen for cervical cancer also. That you need to have those conversations and you need to talk to them, even in urban areas, and then going to the lower middle class urban areas and the rural areas.
Thank you so much. As many of you know, that Lady Sun has an annual breast cancer awareness event every year, and last year we even gave 200 free mammograms. As Hina was just pointing out, that even if we gave free cervical cancer tests, would people even know what that is or feel comfortable to accept that test and to go have it done? It's yes, Roxana, absolutely right. Finances are important, but even if we gave them out for free, whether the government arranged it or Lady Sun did it, would the women take up that opportunity? Now we're nearing the close of our session. We have about 10 minutes left, so we wanted to use this time for a final 2-minute sentence statement on the part of each panelist. So we'll begin with Saida, and each person will speak one by one their closing statement, anything they want to add. Keeping in mind, we'll end in 10 minutes, so 2 minutes each, please. Saida?
Firstly, Usra, thank you for having us. And thank you for initiating this awareness program. I'm sure there have been many such programs. I think awareness is the first step. Acknowledgement, awareness is the first step to any subject that we would like to cater in, going forward. And the point is that, yes, everybody has tons of opinions, so do we, but cancer is a very, very expensive diagnosis. It's a very, very expensive treatment. All over the world, the best insurance companies do not incorporate cancer diagnosis in their insurance. I've heard my esteemed panelists here. And yes, as a company, I, on a personal initiative, have given each one of my employees, not just life insurance, but completely health coverage, complete health coverage. But even then, that is the complete health coverage, which is the top of the line one from the best companies, does not incorporate diagnosis. It does not incorporate outpatient. So that I would like to clarify, okay?
That's very
Fact. And really it's not just over here, globally it doesn't. So there are many issues to tackle. Just on a very small personal front, and Tara, I might take that 1 extra minute. Everybody has had a personal something to share. So I have to say that my entire family, nobody has died of any other ailment but cancer. So 3 years ago, when my youngest sister got it, because cancer has different divisions. If you get old age cancer, it is not genetic, but if your family members start to get cancer at a young age, it could be genetic. So we all had to test, and we all tested, and all my siblings, including me, are all BRCA2 positive. Now, BRCA2 is a cancer test. There are several tests. That doesn't mean I have cancer, God forbid. But like the doctor in England put it, he goes, it's not if you get cancer, it's when you get cancer. Now, technically, for someone like me, I'm aware how all the pitfalls of cancer. I have tested positive. I should fall into a certain educated bracket, hopefully. Even then, there is, apart from testing and being aware of any signs, there's very little you can do. So we all must keep the awareness part as the main important part, and I cannot stress more on food, because that's what I've seen through my family through the years, and that is the only thing that I think I can do for myself sitting here as a BRCA2 positive individual, is be very aware of the food I eat. And there are so many diets and so many things. So we should start promoting the right intake and quality of food.
Thank you so much. Now we're down to 6 minutes left. Just get quick.
Okay, quickly, there were 2 or 3 things said, so I want to talk about that. First, we talked about financing. So financing as an insurance or as giving from the company or organization. Other than that, the CSR budgets that most companies have, most multinationals have CSR budgets, and those CSR budgets are normally used to identify a cause, and money is spent over creating the communication, which is then spread across media, social and electronic and ground activities. So the activations, the media event, the talk shows or whatever. For instance, polio has been doing that in Pakistan, and it has come as a budget to the for the entire media. How it's called sensitizing of an issue is taken up through a strategy. So again, cervical cancer, because it is a taboo or sensitive kind of cancer, there has been a lot of awareness created for breast cancer. Therefore, even the president's wife has become a champion of the cause. And lots of organizations, the Ladies Fund has done awareness programs, because once the sensitization has impacted people, then there are donors, there are organizers, there are people who are willing to host and spread the awareness. So I'm glad that you've done it this time, and this should continue. Other than that, where my personal contribution is concerned, you talked about creating awareness, not through conferences and seminars and webinars and through electronic media talk shows, because once you talk about electronic media or media per se, leaving social media, media is all about, it's a commercial venture. Television is all about, especially satellite television, an expensive business. So this thing can be taken up voluntarily by my organization. What I would do is create a narrative around the issue. So that creating that narrative can be in any form. It can be a ground activity like a concert or XYZ, or it can be about a drama, or it can be about a series of talk shows. So while Nuzat sits here, she is hosting a program for me which is called Wake Up Pakistan, where we've taken every sector of the society and we are talking at length. We do webinars with international experts coming in, and we do that. I sort of, it's recorded once, but it's run at least 3 times so that there's enough information spread. Now I'll hand it to you.
Thank you.
Nuzat.
Very quickly, because the time is all run out. Like I said, I always look for the solution. For me, from this forum, we have to promise, especially Dr. Saeed Khan, Dr. Arshan. What we can do right now from here, try and share a awareness message, and we all have different group, WhatsApp group, million of groups we belong to. हम आज से शुरू करते हैं इसकी, not from tomorrow, from today, not investing a penny on. And similarly, you can create a think tank, and you may count us on that. So this is the easiest way we can do the awareness.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Tana, for having us here. And I think this was a great session and something that we were not aware of, even at our level. So since we have become aware, and as Dr. Nusrat said, I think we could start working on this from today as far as the awareness is concerned. And once we are aware, as Dr. Nusrat said, this is treatable. So that sort of gives you a lot of encouragement that if this is a cancer which is treatable, then maybe we should start earlier than later. Thank you.
I think everything has been spoken, so I will not take much of the time. But if there are people, representatives of the government over here in any form, I know for a fact that October is now called Inktober. We can have certain initiatives coming from the government, creating awareness months, branding a month against the cervical cancer, where NGOs and organizations are encouraged to host awareness programs. That would be one of my suggestions. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you especially to the panelists for taking the time out, and for the organizers for inviting Ladies Fund and the women leaders. As brightly suggested by Dr. Nusrat, this panel has been Facebook Live. We will also have hashtags like hashtag LS cervical cancer, and hashtag awareness, and hashtag saving lives. So, and hashtag Ladies Fund, and of course, for the organization, hashtag IPVS. So if anyone would like to forward it, share it, know that this is available for you, and that's the way awareness can begin this minute. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Tara.
Thank you all for the introduction. This is the part of the IPVS International Symposium, which is organized by the ICBS and from a German scientist, Professor Thomas Signer. Thank you so much for coming.
So we'll just have one picture. Please take a picture, and then thank you. Everyone smile.
Thank you so much.
Nice. I was trying to see you.
Why did you come over here? Yes.
Dropped me yesterday. I didn't sit in my office. I was at the festival.
I know, I read about that.
speaker.
Listen from you. If you are here, so we'll be talking if you will make then too many Thanks for coming.
And speaking of the people that are, I would like to invite Dr. Arshad. He is talking about the experience of Pakistan and new vaccine introduction. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Really, first, really, I'm glad to have so many people talking about cervical cancer now. And the panel has left, but I wanted to tell them that this is the only cancer which can be prevented by vaccine. So we were talking about the cost of the cancer and the miseries of the cancers. So this cancer can be prevented by sort of vaccine. Vaccines are working. We have seen it in COVID. We have seen it in previous vaccine works. So my topic, because we are talking about the cervical cancer and elimination of cervical cancer and introduction of HPV, human papillomavirus. So there is a process of introduction of vaccine in any country. So I'll share the experience of Pakistan, that what are the steps of introduction of vaccine in the country. So let me first begin with the magnitude of the API program, because the vaccine delivery is done in Pakistan through EPI program, which is expanded program on immunization. So let me actually tell you the magnitude of the program, which I'm like proud that I've been associated with that program for like around 5 years. I've served as the national program manager for EPI in Pakistan, and I'll discuss it further. But actually, if you see the magnitude of the program, so in Pakistan, every year, we provide vaccination to 7 million children. 70 lakh bache, 7 million children are being vaccinated by the EPI program each year. So, and then the objective, with the objective of to provide equitable immunization coverage, we are trying to maintain our fully immunized children coverage up to 90%. We are mandated, like the API program is mandated to provide or strengthen the logistics and cold chain system for the vaccination. We are also one of the major contributors for eliminating polio vaccine. And for polio, in each NID or round, which you normally know that polio rounds are going on. So we provide, or we actually catch around 41 million children from 0 to 5 years of age. 41 million children whenever the polio immunization activities are planned. So this is the magnitude of the program, and the service provision is through fixed centers, outreach sites, and through more than like around 14,000 vaccinators spread in like all parts of the country. We are provided vaccination at the facility. All the government hospitals and facilities are providing free of cost immunization, and the immunization are also being done through outreach activities. So they go to the far long distances and they provide vaccination to children. And what vaccination we provide? So as if we see the historical perspective of EPI program, we call it normally expanded program on immunization, or in Urdu we can say TOSI program by Hifadati Tika Jat. So TOSI on expansion. So you can see the expansion. We actually started from 6 vaccinations in 1976. And then you can see the list of vaccination which has been introduced in Pakistan. So Pakistan EPI program is very dynamic. Every few years, we have introduced lot of vaccines. Even the Pakistan introduced pentavalent vaccine, which was very costly at that time in 2008. The pentavalent was because it was providing 5 vaccinations to 1 injection. So we shifted to pentavalent vaccination, pneumococcal vaccination. I think there are only few countries around the world which are offering pneumococcal vaccination free of cost. Likewise, if we see the inactivated polio vaccine, rotavirus vaccine, and typhoid conjugate vaccine, Pakistan was the first country in the world to introduce typhoid conjugate vaccine in the immunization schedule, and we are providing it free of cost. And at that time, I was linked with the program. We recently have shifted from measles to measles rubella, and we are also providing tetanus diphtheria vaccine to the pregnant ladies of the Pakistan, which is around 7 million again. So this is the API schedule, and in 6 visits, each child from the age of at birth to around 15 months, we provide around vaccination for about 12 vaccinations of vaccine preventable diseases. We also provide TB vaccination to the pregnant woman, polio vaccine, or the support for the polio program I have already discussed. And we have contributed a lot during this COVID emergency. For the COVID emergency, the vaccination, the only channel to provide vaccination to people of Pakistan was through EPI program. So during that time, we have actually, the EPI program has vaccinated 139 million people in 1 year. And this is all age group. Like at that time, the recommendations were from 18 years above and then to all ages. And then it came down to 12 years. But now we are also providing vaccination for children from 5 years to 12 years of age. The EPI program is providing vaccines, and all these vaccines are free of cost. So I'm just like reading, or I put this phrase from the EPI policy that for every vaccine introduction, which we have seen in the last previous slides, that for every vaccine in introduction, the program's decision is heavily influenced by robust evidence. It should be international guidelines, recommendations by the state and World Health Organization. There must be some local evidence on the disease burden, and then we need approval from our drug regulatory authority before introducing any vaccines. And then we have a very learned National Immunization Technical Advisory Group, which is a group of independent body which is linked with the EPI, provide recommendations for the EPI for introduction of any new vaccine. So these are the mandatory things. And additionally, yes, we need to look at the availability and sustainability of financial resources, human resources, cold chain capacity, and local cultural and social behaviors that play a major role in decision making. And that is linked to what we will be discussing here today. And I have a slide on that as well. So if we break it down, that strong scientific evidence, like data available on safety and efficacy of vaccine, sufficient local and regional data available on disease prevalence against which the vaccine is effective. Here I will stop for a while because not only the problem in Pakistan and countries like Pakistan is there, we don't have a very good or scientific local data. So we sometimes have to look at the regional data, and we have to base on the regional data. Even when we were discussing or we were introducing typhoid vaccine, in Pakistan, we do not have local data on typhoid. So we have to actually consult to the regional data and smaller data. But definitely we all knew as the doctors and as the policymakers that typhoid was a problem. And at that time, XDR, multi-drug resistance typhoid was a big problem. So we have to see on that data and we made our decision on that. And WHO pre-qualification for vaccines. This is a process where WHO actually qualifies the vaccine to to be provided to the general public. And that is a very stringent method. They fully check the data. And it is like one a vaccine or any medicine is WHO pre-qualified, that means its efficacy and that is safe for use for humans. This is one important and interesting thing that we always only choose vaccines who are registered and available in the country of manufacturing. So that is one of the requirement of Pakistan while introducing any new vaccine, that it should be registered in the country where it is produced and it is available or being used there. So actually these are all the measures which we look for the safety of the vaccine. And so in our country, the process and local and regional data available on disease prevalence, vaccines not in conflict with social and cultural norms, which normally vaccines are actually, most of the vaccines are. But we look on this issue as well. And listed in Gavi priority list because Pakistan is one of the few countries which is supported, like one of the 80 countries. But Gavi is a Pakistan is a priority country for Gavi. So Gavi always give an importance to Pakistan for vaccine introduction. And we are like Pakistan is home to various vaccines which are only available in routine immunization free of cost in Pakistan. For example, IPV vaccine and pneumococcal vaccine. Pakistan was the first to introduce those vaccines free of cost. Recommendations by NITAC, registered with draft, endorsement by NICC. NICC is the highest forum of EPI program, that is National Immunization Committee. So this is the highest forum where all the partners and the government of Pakistan, even the finance department is part of this NICC, and they make the decision for introduction of any vaccine or any thing into the API because cost is also involved. Especially the cost and like foreign currency and things like that. Submission of proposal, then we submit a proposal to Gavi for vaccine introduction. So Pakistan has been able to achieve like or submit various successful applications, even like CCOP, new vaccine introduction, many of those. Traditionally, the vaccines in Pakistan are introduced in campaigns for the first time. Whenever we first introduce the vaccine, we do it in a campaign mode. For example, we were discussing last the MR vaccine that has been introduced in a campaign that was started from 9 months to 15 years of age, boys and girls. So we also have that experience to reach those 9 to 14 years bracket of girls for HPV, which we are talking about here. Whenever we are developing applications, we always calculate how the reporting and recording tools will be developed, training of the vaccinators, logistics support, cold chain requirement, because vaccines do require cold chain, and then we decide that what the cold chain availability is and how much we need to invest into the cold chain if we are opting for any new vaccine. So that is also being calculated. But after COVID, I think we are very much sufficient for introducing any vaccine. Strong communication strategy for community awareness, social and mass media. This is the most important thing before introducing any new vaccine. The community awareness, social mobilization, because we have a lot of anti-vaxxers here. There are societies of anti-vaxxers. We have seen this in polio, we have seen it in COVID even. So we have to deal with them, and in countries like Pakistan, where education is less, people are not that much aware of vaccination, the importance of vaccination, and that's what Dr. Ishad was telling in her last slide, that the coverage in Pakistan generally is 72%. In Sindh, it was 61%. In province like Balochistan, it is 38%. So the vaccine hesitancy and refusal is very high in Pakistan. So we actually need to make a strong communication strategy for community awareness, through social and mass media campaign. Lastly, we have experienced that messages from the subject experts actually play a very strong role. When the subject, because when government provides a message, people don't listen to that. But when subject specialists, professional bodies like the forum we have here, Like we are not all actually medical doctors, we are scientists. We are like, we have a diverse type of people from different groups, and especially the group which was sitting here a while ago. So whatever they speak, people do listen to them. They have their own area of communication where people do listen to them. So the professional bodies like Pakistan Pediatric Council, the Society, the Pakistan Medical Society. So they actually, that voice is the most strongest voice for improving the vaccination coverage. And just there is one slide on HPV introduction because we are talking about HPV. So actually in Pakistan, the target age group for HPV vaccines, which Dr. Fawzia in her presentation, she referred to roadmap which was developed for the Pakistan. We have calculated all the costs of all these strategies through this group, 9 to 14 years of age, which actually are 13.8 million in Pakistan. This age group is 13.8 million in Pakistan. As I told you that whenever the vaccine will come, it will come into the campaign mode. It will be introduced in the campaign mode for 9 to 14 years of age. Then in routine immunization, we can cover girls from 9 years of age, which is actually 33 million in Pakistan. While developing the roadmap, actually we have calculated the cost of each, the operational cost to reach every child in Pakistan. And for HPV, it was like $1.3 per child. But if we are going, as we were discussing about the single dose, it will actually get almost half. So the operational cost is very low to reach the, because we have that infrastructure, we have that capacity to actually reach the people. So the operational cost for delivering each vaccine is $1.3 US dollar 1.3. Vaccine cost depends on dose and the brand which is available. 60% of target population can be accessed in the school. We already have a lot of cold chain capacity at this point in time. After COVID, actually, we don't have problem with the cold chain capacity. But identification of skilled workers for immunization, additional force would be required maybe because we are targeting girls only. We might need female vaccinators. Currently, in Pakistan, only 10 to 12% vaccinators are female vaccinators. Normally, we have male vaccinators because they have to do outreach as well. So most of the, so we might have a challenge of hiring skilled health workers, especially female, for immunization. Definitely, we have to develop a survival culture and different linkages if we are offering any vaccine. This is one of the prerequisites of introduction of any vaccine and revival of the school health program or reproductively. So these are the challenges, and some of my challenges that country's commitment for HPV vaccine introduction, and it has a background like NITAG, recommendation from different professional bodies, recommendation from financial authorities. We have financial control for vaccine, for co-financing, social and cultural norms may lead to high number of people. Capacity of EPI program to reach the target age group through which female vaccinators or female skilled worker would be required, and implementation of a strong communication strategy. Thank you all for patience listening. You have my email address here. If anybody wants to have some more information or if you ask me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hashim, for I think we have a lot of time, so we can discuss questions that you read, that you have done. Before we wait for the team, we have an announcement from the organizer. I think the other announcement to make. Meanwhile, if there's any questions, we can put them out. Riyadh is there. Okay.
Dr. Sumla, just wait a minute for this announcement. It's a very important announcement, actually. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard of further tragic loss of lives in the last 2 days because of the further rains and post-flood health challenges. And this has saddened us, actually. And at this point of time, we apologize that we will not be holding any cultural or musical evening tonight. So because of the showing solidarity with our fellows citizens, and I hope you understand and appreciate the reason for this last minute cancellation. This does not mean that it reflects that we have lost the hopes and spirit of Pakistan. It will always remain very strong and high. We will come back and thrive, inshallah. So kindly note that the gala dinner will be served in the lawns of Professor Ataur Rahman Laboratories at 8 p.m. So we'll see you all registered participants there at 8 p.m. at the PCMD lawn, TWC lawns actually. So that was the announcement for you guys to make note of this. And is there any other? So the session is now off and the tea is served at the multi-purpose hall. Okay, thank you.